Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depend on the time you are watching this video. We are starting another asynchronous class on superhero comic books in nowadays society. This will be a short class because we are about to wrap up this chapter of MacLeod's book. And I prefer to start a new chapter in the beginning of classes. So let's go for it. On our last class, we have stopped, I believe, in this page regarding the balloon and the use of balloons as iconic vocabulary and media in comic books. And MacLeod is stating that over the years there has been a great deal on variations uh, in order to depict sound in a strictly visual medium such as comic books. Variations in balloon shape are many, and new ones are being invented every day. I will be R. It's so quiet. Oh, it's you. Timber. Zacker. While inside those balloons, symbols are constantly being appropriated or even invented to cover non-verbal. I believe everyone here is familiar with the symbols, either from comic books or maybe animated cartoons such as Woody Woodpecker, Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, and others in that particular line. Even the variations of lettering styles, both in and out of balloons, speak of an ongoing struggle to capture the very essence of sound. Crash, tip tip, bring, ha ha. Maybe I don't even want shrimp for dinner. Whoomp, crack, la di 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 da, click. And as for the essence of thought, of course, words themselves, more than all the other visual symbols, have the power to completely describe the invisible realm of senses and emotions. Words can take even seemingly neutral images and invest them with a wealth, of feelings and experiences. I sat by the open window, hoping to catch a whiff of the old charcoal grills. From next door came the otherworldly hum of television. The old clock struck a lazy 8. As noted, pictures can induce strong feelings in the reader, but they can also lack the specificity of words. I am curious on this. Sorry. I was saying that I am curious on these two different pictures or frames of comics to know your feelings. When you guys look at this picture over here on the left of our page, what kind of feelings do you have? And over here to the picture in our right, what kind of feelings do you have? I do bet that you experience different kinds of feelings when comparing those two pictures, but I'll let you tell me on our next synchronous class. Words, on the other hand, offer that specificity, but can lack the immediate emotional charge of pictures, relying instead on a gradual cumulative effect. I just want you to know that I'm on to your plot. I know you put something in my dog's food that made him not love me anymore, and together, of course, words and pictures can work miracles. But we'll get to that in the next chapter. Perhaps it's too much to ask of one sense that it be responsible for conveying such a wide world of experiences. But we make that process work by bringing the full power of our own experiences to bear on the world our eyes report. In this chapter, we've dealt with the sorry, we've dealt with the invisible worlds of senses and emotions, but in fact, all aspects of comics show it to be an art of the invisible. What you see is seldom what you get. If all you are seeing even now, is just ink and paper. And in the end, what you get is what you give. Pretty much a life lesson, isn't it? And I don't know if you paid extra attention to that final thought in this chapter of MacLeod, but take a look on those four frames, four final frames. One, two, three, four, five. Oops, I'm sorry, five final frames. What I'm trying to attempt here is that uh, while MacLeod is summarizing this chapter, he's proving that when we are talking about comics, the, the most you give, the better you receive, or the best you receive. How so? Take a look on the our journey from here till the end of the chapter. He is like expanding the frames, but I would urge you all to take a look on his depiction. So it's a double eye movement. Let's go. One, two, three, four, five. What does this exactly mean? Probably you are asking me right now. Well, MacLeod is not only summarizing this chapter, but he is also making an important effort on the reader thinking process about the art of the invisible. Uh, how so? We know that comics, like MacLeod states here, are pretty much ink and paper. They don't have to be only that, but they are pretty much it. Okay, but when we invest our view power and try to interpret, to understand, to fully grasp the meaning of the frames, we are going far beyond ink and paper. We are transcending. And here I make a parallel to one of the very first lessons that MacLeod shared with us in the beginning of this book. Remember the straight and narrow vision of the people who dislike comics? Maybe that lack of vision or that narrow vision happens because these people in particular can only see the effect of ink on paper. Pretty much screen number 5 or screen number 4. It doesn't make quite sense to them. It is almost as we, or the majority of us, I do believe, that go to art museum and we do not understand the intention of the artist when we take a look at a couple of screens or sculptures, and we can only see ink, colored ink, on them. We have that feeling. I used to do that during elementary school, and people did not consider that to be an art at the time, only my mother. Okay, but is that art? Well, for those people, we start to understand, if we get frames 5 and 4, maybe why they don't see comics with their full potential. But if we start our journey from number 3, number 2, and number 1 frames, we understand how, or we start to understand how deep comics can get and how far beyond ink and paper they can be, because they can display a whole variety of senses and emotions through the art of the invisible. So when MacLeod states here that if you are only seeing, or if you are only capable of seeing ink and paper, you are not gonna get the message, and you won't be able to introject the information and knowledge contained in the pages of any comic book. Therefore, you won't be able to grasp the story, to fully understand it. What you get is what you give. It's a double-way street in which you have to be very open-minded to go further beyond ink and paper. For those of you who can make that transcendent movement, you'll be pleased to have something in reward. And I do believe that every serious or every fan of comic book, regardless of genre, style, author, publishing company, or whatever, can do that transcending movement. My final question to this chapter is, what about you guys? Can you do that same transcending movement. I'll be delighted to hear from you on our next class. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.